world's ending, take a look around. You're tuned into the truth, or at least the truest sound. The path to a better planet, humanity's crescendo. Here's the plan, the regular man's manifesto. Regular man's manifesto. Regular man's manifesto. Regular man's manifesto. Regular man's manifesto.
Alright, welcome to Regular Man's Manifesto. Here with Jay McClintock, Cody Fire, and this is Jay Scribner. Alrighty, cool. We're going to start with the top 5 this time as well. Kind of suck you all in, pull you in real nice and tight.
Yeah, with our cleverness and our comedy.
Alrighty. So we'll let Jay start it off with his top... Oh, sorry, I guess the top 5 is going to be things you don't want to hear your parents say, either to you or just in general.
Yeah, you can overhear them say these things, but I mainly focus mine on things they're saying to you.
Which what you're thinking right now is like, it has to be, everything's going to be really dirty and nasty. But we're
gonna surprise you.
Tried to avoid those because I didn't want anyone to judge me via the internet.
Yes. Okay, my number 5. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That one always hit me to my core. Like, that is something that you can't
never
want to
hear
your
parents say that.
The worst part is when say my dad would say that to me, and I'd be like, "You're a huge disappointment. What the hell?"
They always just walk away too.
Yeah. Because anger fades fast. It's fine when they're angry. Like 10 minutes later, you can approach somebody disappointed. Somebody that affects you.
You definitely got grounded after that too.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to think about what you.
Your socks are inside out in your laundry hamper, grounded for 2.5 hours. Tell Jaron to go home. Sorry, I was diving in my own.
Okay.
Sorry, Cody. What you got?
All right, my number 5. Mellow Yellow and Dr. Pepper are the same drink. No, they're not, Mom.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Oh my God, Mountain Dew is the elixir of the gods.
Yeah.
And Mellow Yellow is something I don't even know. Like you clean bathtubs with that.
Don't even fucking come at me with that bullshit, Mom.
Yeah, like you know.
That was good. I was not expecting that at all. All right, my number 5 is gonna be like, hey, add me on Facebook. Or I just signed up for Facebook. Like, nobody wants to talk to their parents on Facebook.
That's a freaking nightmare.
Well, like, my mom's awesome, but, like, she has a Facebook, and, like, no matter what I post, she's, like, liking it or, like, sharing it. And then she always posts these, like, these little, like, when you love your son, like, meme, like, they're not even memes, they're, like, quotes with, like, landscapes in the background. Like, this is a background for a desktop computer.
Tell everybody about when she first got on to Facebook and she thought she knew how the tagging worked.
All right, so she got on Facebook and she, like, you know, updated her profile or whatever, added some people, and then, like, I got, like, a tag that, you know, from one of her photos. It's just a picture of her face, and she tagged, like, 50 people in it. And I call her. I'm like, hey, why'd you tag me in that photo? She said, oh, well, I wanted you to see it. I said, okay, well, like, then you just post it, and your friends will see it, or they'll see your profile or whatever.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
You don't have to tag me in all your photos so that I see it.
Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me when you got the older generation getting onto Facebook and these other things. Like, they're so far behind, and they just doing a laughable attempt at catching up.
Even some young kids now are kind of like not tech savvy at all.
Yeah.
Or just complete morons and post stupid shit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, my number 4. So I was cleaning your room earlier. ... Moment of dread. Like, oh no.
What'd you find?
What'd you find? Like, that happened to me when I had some porno mags.
Oh, nice.
That was
I had some porno mags, and I just told my mom straight up. Like, I would tell my mom, like, the truth. And she'd be like, you're so funny. You know, I'd be like, don't look under my bed. I got, like, some Playboys. And she'd be like, yeah, you're so funny. And then she wouldn't, like, even look under the bed.
That's brilliant, Chase.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, mine was literally like she was just cleaning up my room.
I never hid it or anything like that. But she did find a porno tape Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah,
Never
let's
mind.
not dive into that.
Never mind. Never mind.
Keep that story to yourself.
It's. Fuck it, I'll tell it.
You're eager to
Yeah.
do so.
So, it was called "Pull My Hair and Call Me Stupid."
I almost just spit out my beer.
So it's the first porno video I ever had, and it was a VHS, and it was hidden or whatever. And like I went to go get it one day, and it was gone, and I was like, oh my god, like what happened to it? So I'm freaking out. Like a week goes by, I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know where this video is. And my mom storms in my room with the tape and starts ripping it apart. She goes, "That's not what sex is like," and just slams my door. That's it. That's all she says. I'm like a 12-year-old boy. Like I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
She just yelled at me and said, "That's not what sex is like," and slammed the door. And I was just like, okay.
Well, I gotta agree. I've been having sex for a while now. Nobody's ever pulled my hair and called me stupid.
Yeah. Well, you're not having good sex.
I guess I'm doing it wrong.
Oh fuck.
All right, it's my number 4.
Yep.
I'm voting for Donald Trump.
See,
Yeah.
well, like,
Stole yours.
Yeah. We're gonna build the wall.
maybe if they said something, one of his silly quotes.
No, if
over.
you're like serious, I'm voting for Donald Trump. That'd be very disappointing.
My
Yeah.
mom is voting for Donald Trump though, so I can't
Oh,
bash her too bad.
Yeah.
you should.
Whatever, let her do her thing.
Let her
People
do
can
it.
vote for whoever they want.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is gonna be when your mom says, "You're just like your father,"
Oh.
in a negative way too. Like, say your dad's just like a total piece of shit or something. You're just like your father. Or like Dan Cook when his girlfriend gets in a fight with him, he's like, "You're just like your father. You don't even know my
It's
father."
like
My father was a great man. He made me all the oodles and noodles I wanted.
that's like going for the kill shot.
Yeah, that is a kill shot because that's like whether we acknowledge it or not, we build like a whole part of our being around our fathers, and that's something. If you hear that, that just strikes you deep down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hurter. Okay. All right. So my number 3 ties back to something we've mentioned in one of the earlier podcasts. So 30 years ago, I was given the opportunity to clone myself. You remember where is the hypothetical
I
situation?
mean, yeah. What do you
where-
mean? You said,
So this person is a clone, and his parents are getting ready to switch bodies with him.
oh,
Oh shit.
no, I
okay.
get it.
Yeah. Darn it, guys.
No, I
Yeah.
got it.
I get it, but I
You
was
threw-
confused because
You
like,
threw me off when you said
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
fine.
we rested on the 30 year because Chase was uncomfortable not being sub 50 when
Oh
we.
yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
got it.
So you're a fucking clone and you're about to
Yeah,
die.
you're a clone. You're getting ready to die. The joke didn't land. I'm gonna
That
make a
would
note
suck.
of that.
All right. So both my first ones were kind of jokey. So I'll go with a serious one. My number 3 is. Well, I guess it's not very serious, but
Talking to the mic.
I wish the abortion would have worked.
Holy
Oh,
shit!
That's not serious at all.
How about this one? I wish I had a longer coat hanger.
Oh fuck.
Oh my god. Oh, we got
see,
this
we're
one.
getting bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
see,
It's
like
too
these could be
easy.
so bad.
It's too, yeah.
Like the whole, like earlier today, me and Jay were washing windows, and I was just like, haha, like this would be a funny one, and I was like, wow, you're much bigger than your dad. And we were like, no,
Oh my God.
no, we cannot say things like that. It's terrible.
Ew.
Yeah, it gets out of hand and it just gets a little repulsive. But I think that one was in good taste there, Cody.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So my number 3 one is going to be like when you're having the birds and the bees talk, and it's like super awkward. And then after you lose your virginity, maybe it's like the first conversation you have with your dad or whatever after it. And he's like, how was she in the sack? Like trying to be cool and hip. Like, Dad, you know what? I don't really know if I want to have this conversation with you or not.
Yeah.
And I've never heard you say sack before, and I'm just not totally comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if your parents ever say the word sack, it's never in a good context.
Yeah.
Can you grab me the sack of potatoes? Never mind. There is some good context. If you're talking about potatoes. Okay. Number 2 for Jaybird. Do you want to try heroin together?
I think once you, and then what you would say back to that is, once you do heroin, you're done forever.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's
a-
a bad idea, Mom.
Or you go, no, I don't, and then they go, too late.
More for me. Oh yeah.
Too late, and they
More-
stab you.
More for me.
More for me, and then 2 needles into the arm.
And then your parents are dead.
Yeah. Well, they're both double needle in it.
That sounds like origin story for a superhero.
Yeah. Their parents injected double dose of heroin into their body while they were pregnant, and then you come out like a super crack baby, able to lift a fire truck off of anybody.
You have to smoke some crack beforehand.
Yeah,
Like
crack
pop-
and heroin.
like
Has anybody
Popeye.
tried that?
I don't want
I'm
to
sure.
know. I don't want to know. I'm not interested in that.
There probably is a drug that's crack and heroin.
All right. My number 2. I just won the lotto and you ain't getting shit.
Wow. You ain't getting shit from me. That's fucked up.
That would fucking suck.
Yeah, but then, honestly, you just gotta wait for him to die.
Then you
Why'd
get
they
all their
spend it
money.
all?
Yeah, yeah,
And which
yeah.
I will, because people
Yeah,
that win
yeah.
the lottery are usually.
Yeah, and by wait,
Rude.
I mean
Kill
facilitate some things.
Right.
Yeah,
I am getting shit.
yeah, you're
All
asking
right.
for it.
My number 2 is going to be, son, you need any dating advice? I can really put it down. Ask your mom.
Oh
God.
It's fucked
He's
up.
cringy.
Yeah,
Very
but
cringy.
his dad is pretty goddamn cool, and I feel like his dating advice would be worth it.
Yeah.
Bobby does put it down, I bet.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah, we've met some of the women that have been
Oh,
left in
yeah.
his wake, and their minds are gone.
Really?
He just dicked their brains out of their head. He does lay a strong pipe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I'm
with yes.
thinking there. He knows some like finger trick.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, the Chinese thumb box.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know. We gotta ask him. Call him
Yeah.
up. Number 1, I met your mother on Tinder.
That's one for the future.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
future
that's
one,
something
yeah.
a future one. Could you imagine? Like, you automatically just assume that your mom got smashed on the first night.
Yeah.
If you.
Well, no, because I was reading an article that was saying that like kids nowadays are having way less sex than they did like in the past.
Yeah, but not with Tinder meetups though.
Yeah, here's my thing though: is I don't think that. I don't know. I feel like people meet on Tinder and stuff, but there's less hangouts, but there's more conversations rather than like them actually hanging and meeting each other.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't use Tinder or whatnot.
But if you do meet somebody and talk to them on Tinder, and the first time you hang out, I'm assuming it's like a really high success rate.
You think it is? I wonder what it would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of the whole theme of the app.
Yeah. Kind of is.
But what's your success rate of hanging out with them? Is it high?
No.
So you talk
But
to
it's
like
just like the shotgun method.
say you talk to like 10 girls. How many of them out of those 10 girls, like you're having legit conversations, like let's say like every other day you're talking to them, how many of them are willing to hang out with you?
If you're talking to them every day, then why wouldn't they?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I mean like I feel like, I don't know, with those dating apps it's kind of hard to like, because they don't really actually know you and stuff. I feel like you should just go to the bar. Like if you want to bang someone, just go to the bar and get drunk with someone, and then you can.
Yeah. But then you have sex with them.
Isn't that the point of Tinder? You just said that.
Yeah. So you're saying that you don't think that the kid would assume that their parents had sex the first time they met, when that is what my theory is. A person hears that their parents met through Tinder, go, oh yeah, my dad smashed my mom the first night.
Alright, so basically your dad's a pimp and your mom's a hoe.
Yeah, for sure. And then that's gonna ruin mess with your psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My number 1 is I just sent a large sum of money over to this Nigerian prince who's gonna make us rich. God damn it, no!
Don't worry, son. I've got it all figured out. I just talked to Harambe over in Nigeria. He's gonna get his inheritance, but he just needed $500 to get through the legal paperwork. So we're gonna be fine.
I was
Harambe's
thinking
gonna hook
about
us
more
up.
than that. My dad has a story. He knows a guy. Sent this guy $60,000 over the course of a month.
What?
Took out his whole retirement and sent everything over to this guy.
I remember watching
Like holy shit.
or reading about
This
this.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a movie. We watched it on Netflix. It's like there's a city that's like known
It's
for like
Nigeria is known for it.
it's known for like cyber or whatever, and you like walk around and there's like these little coffee shops everywhere
Yeah.
where people are on these laptops and they're saying like, oh, I'm this blah blah
Yeah.
blah, give me your money.
Yeah.
And like there's this one story in particular where this dude gets like a couple $1 billion.
Yeah, he like pretends to be
Some like business guy like investing
No,
in
he
this
pretends to
country.
be like the prime minister or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he sells this property that he doesn't have the rights to. Or he's like selling an airport. It was an airport
Yeah.
to this Chinese banker who gave him like $1 billion and then never checked on anything.
Yeah.
And just finally realized that he got duped.
It's crazy.
I know, isn't it crazy? And that guy like built all these buildings in Nigeria and they're still around.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a grade A con artist.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Yeah, I've
original
seen that.
plot is called the Spanish Prisoner Scheme. It's where you say like, hey, I'm going to give you your prisoner back, but I just need this money first. Meanwhile, you never had the prisoner in the first place.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's an original Gotti.
The fact that you know that is silly.
I've known that one for a while.
You've been waiting for that moment to say it.
I feel like I'm walking around with just like a whole bunch of weapons around me that are just tidbits of information, and I can just draw them and fire them whenever I feel like. Some of them are bazooka, some of them are BB guns.
So what you're saying is
Information is power.
you're like a Snapple cap.
I am. but
All right, so my number one is going to be. All mine are sexual. It's gross.
Yeah.
Your mom's in trouble tonight.
God.
Fuck!
Why? Why are you?
I
doing
don't
all
know.
these?
Like
You
you married on
sick of-
Tinder one is the same thing. This was a tough topic.
I went with mellow yellow.
Yeah.
You're coming at me. All these nasty.
That was a good one. Yeah. All right. Oh God.
It depends on your relationship with your parents on how cool they are or not.
Yeah, you and your mom got a very open relationship.
Super open. Like
She would play beer pong with us at our parties.
when we were in high school.
Yeah.
It'd be even worse if your parents weren't married, or like weren't even together.
Yeah.
My parents aren't together.
My parents aren't together.
If they're not together, you're at a family cookout or something, and then your dad comes out.
Here's one that I never want to hear them say
No.
is, "Hey, me and your mom are getting back together."
Oh yeah.
I would hate
What?
that.
I would love that.
No, you wouldn't.
That'd be
Oh,
awful.
dude, definitely, 100% into that.
You get
But I like
parents
Gina and I like.
You're full of shit.
What?
You want to see your mom and dad get back together?
Dude, my dad is.
That'd be like watching a fucking train wreck occur.
Why?
You
No,
think it would go well?
You're 100% wrong because my mom and dad get along well now, still now. Literally the only reason they broke up is because my dad was an alcoholic. That's it. Alcohol ruined my mom and dad's relationship. Nothing else did. They
And
never even
alcohol's
got in
out of the
arguments or anything. I was talking to her a couple days ago about it. Like I was like, dude, it's very strange.
Yeah.
You guys have any? Okay. You guys have any honorable mentions?
I got a couple.
I had a long list.
I had the one.
Lay 'em on us.
I had the Make America Great Again one, and then I had the Birds and Bees talk.
All right. I had I Wish You Were Never Born. Kill Yourself.
Wow.
I did 9/11.
I was part of it.
Good one.
You're part of 9/11. Part
I
of Sandy Hook.
have a weird addiction, and I can no longer hold it in. I have to tell you, I eat human poop.
Where
Oh man.
where did that come from?
I don't know. I was just writing things that I
You're
don't want my
such-
parents to say to me.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, man. I was really impressed there. I have an addiction and I can't hold it any longer. I eat human poop.
Yes, that would be awful.
So
Okay.
then you immediately
What
think,
would you
"She ate some of my poop and he eat whatever your dad or mom.
Oh no! Oh no!
They have eaten some of my poop. I am
How long
screwed.
has this addiction been going
Yeah,
on?
yeah. This is a long
So many questions come to your mind if your parent says that to you.
Yeah. I feel like I would be concerned about I'm not even sure what I'd be concerned about first.
The awkwardness that follows that.
Yeah, like,
that
so
would
then you
really-
ought to, every time you poop from there on out, you're dealing with like, I'm flushing this immediately.
double flush,
Double
double
flushing.
tap.
Yeah. Check. You go downstairs, check the pipes. They're like wrenching it open. This is sick.
That's
This
all.
is sick.
That's all they eat. Since they came out of the closet about it, and they put it on their plates now. Eat it at dinner at the table.
Yeah, that's fucking gross, bro. You really did a good job with that.
All right. Well, I think we nailed the top 5.
Yeah. Time to talk about some parks.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the park thing. It's kind of weird when we were talking about utopias on our last podcast.
Are you really gonna confess here, Chase?
Should I not?
I don't know.
I didn't know like what like utopia, the definition of utopia, because I didn't look it up or nothing. So I thought it would be like when you escape from like your normal life would be like your utopia, but clearly that's not what it is.
He just started designing.
So I like
a
designed
park.
this park and stuff, and like while I was designing it, I like found all this cool information about like parks and like big cities was mainly what I was thinking. Is like, because I feel like in the future, like pretty much every city, because we're just gonna keep getting more and more and more and more and more population dense, to where it's just gonna be every city is gonna be filled with people, and then the only space that we can use to get away is going to be parks.
Yeah.
And
So you
public
love
space.
parks now, and you just stumbled across this. This is beautiful. So we're really delving into this Chase's park fascination,
Yeah.
like his escape from humanity. I think that is something that we should probably talk about. What the park's role in keeping us kind of separate from our technology dependency.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, for sure. I don't think people are going to the park because they want to like lay there and like get on free Wi-Fi and
Or Pokemon Go is kind of changing that. So you go there and you're even deeper into the technology maze.
But I think with Pokemon Go, it gets people there
It gets them there.
where they
but
might
then
have not gone.
It doesn't get them all the way there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're still in
they're
that.
not using the park for like what it's actually there for.
Yeah. But it's better than nothing, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's better. It's better than not going at all. It's like a halfway route.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of hard to like judge on like in like a city like Fort Wayne because like I mean there's only 200 and like whatever thousand people here, 250,000 to 275,000 people here, so it's a little different than like in big cities. Like me and Jay went around. We went to San Francisco and we actually walked from our hostel all
In
the
the
way.
Tenderloin district.
Yeah,
which
all
is-
the way to Presidio.
Presidio.
Yeah, Presidio Park in San Francisco, which is huge.
Yeah, it was a huge park.
Huge. And it's like we like walked in and there's like cars and roads and like all this stuff. It's like that's actually the park that you would drive through to get to the Golden Gate Bridge. So like if you've ever been to San Francisco, you've seen this park to the left of you pretty much.
Yeah, so it's got like the original military barracks, and then it's right next. You can stare out at this beach to the prison. What's it called?
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. You can see it across the bay there. It's got all these different things. There's a
like
bunch of
shops
big boulevards, and there's
Yeah.
like pitching machines you can go to.
And there's all these like businesses and like what he's referring to is it's called Chrissy Fields. And that's like this really huge. So it used to be. This is one thing that
It's an air base, right?
Yeah, but one thing that's fascinating about like the way that most parks now are being created in big cities are things that are either like old and ran down or an area that used to be something else, but now it's just nothing.
Yeah.
So like this, for an example, in San Francisco was this old air base, and they had this huge like open field with all these.
It's a landing strip.
Yeah, there's a landing strip. There's all this crap, and it sat there forever. Like, and it was being used for military and whatnot. And then once they got rid of it, it just sat there empty forever, for a long time. And then the San Francisco's were like, "Hey, we should create this field out of this." Blah blah. They hired all their architects and all the whatever, and they created this magnificent, huge, flat piece of land. Chrissy Field is just like this big flat piece of land, and it's like where everyone will take like their dogs and whatnot. So like when we were walking around, and this was like on a weekday. No, it was Sunday.
No, it would have been
Or Saturday.
Yeah, it'd have been a Saturday.
And this, I mean, there was how many people do you think were there?
In the whole on Chrissy Fields.
Yeah, a couple thousand.
Yeah,
people.
I would say like 5,000 would be my
It was
guess.
crazy, and it's huge, but it was just filled with people everywhere, like having picnics and throwing footballs around and kicking and like have flying kites and like all this crazy stuff. All these people are there, and they're just getting away from like their city life, just relaxing on this giant field all together. It was awesome. It was so cool. And there was another place we went to in San Francisco, in particular, where the painted ladies are. So if you ever watched the movie or the TV show Full House, they would show the painted ladies on the front, and that's Alimony Square. And we went to a silent disco there.
That was awesome. You stand on this park, overlooking the whole city, and we've got just the silent disco headphones on, and you got these neon lights going off.
That's awesome.
And Chase was so drunk that he couldn't stand. And like you get to see the whole city just from that one park, and it was just beautiful as the sun went
A bunch
down.
of parks in San Francisco are like built like that, to where like you're sitting in them, and if you go up to like the very tippy top of kind of where it is, you can kind of like look over the landscape and see all these huge buildings. And it's crazy to be inside of a park, surrounded by people, relaxing and whatnot, and know that there's just this giant city around you. It's a really cool feeling. And that was the first time I ever went to San Francisco. I was like, man, parks are pretty badass, and they're used for a lot of things. Like, you go to Foster Park all the time, don't you, Jay?
Yeah, I go to Foster.
Does
Yeah,
you live over there?
So that's something I'd also like to mention too. Is like you build kind of your community identity around some of these parks. When people ask me in Fort Wayne where I live, I say over by Foster Park. There's just like a landmark there.
Yeah.
It's a park that I identify myself with because I go there, play tennis, jog, golf. It's all sorts of cool stuff.
One thing cool.
Just going off of like how you describe the parks that you were just talking about. Those to me, like the first thing that came to my mind was those are like human parks, whereas like it's just for people and like recreation to get out of that city life and see some greenery. Maybe like throw a frisbee around,
stretch your legs.
Yeah, but there's really no nature, like for the animal. There's nothing for the animals in these parks designed into these parks.
Squirrels.
Yeah,
it's not animal based. Definitely not. But
Yeah.
Going back on what you just said, Jay, about how you identify yourself with like Foster Park and stuff. There's a park in most of my information is based like in New York, because like New York's this huge giant city with 8 million people. And there's no green, there's no parks really, or there's no...
It's a concrete jungle, baby.
No one has, like, their own yard, pretty much. So, it's called the Highline Park, and it's an old railroad. So, there used to be this railroad that would bring freight into particular areas in New York City, and once in the 1980s, they kind of got rid of it. They stopped using it because they weren't producing as much there. And it turned into, like, this grassy knoll. So it's elevated 30 feet above the ground because they didn't want the train tracks running on the roads because they were killing people and stuff.
Stupid trains.
Yeah. So pretty much the developers and the people who own that property and the governor was like, and the mayor was like, hey, we want to get rid of this. Let's tear this down. Let's start developing. Like, this is a good space. We should use it. And the people in the city were like, no, like, we want a park here. But we should make the park here. So they were like, well, we don't know if we can make a park here. I mean, it's going to be where you have to make elevators to even get to this park. You have to have stairs. Like, no one would be able to see it unless you're there on the park, or it's or you get like a flyover. No one would be able to like look at it and be like, oh, that's a park. Let's go up there and check it out. So this was like the first of its kind, and it was an overnight success. It was huge. So it basically turned this area of New York City or New York in general, boosted the economy. They built 40 buildings around this, like it's like a couple hundred feet of park. It's a really small park. They built 40 buildings around it, up to $2 billion in investment, all around just this one little strip of park.
Jesus Christ! $2 billion?
$2 billion.
Damn.
Yeah.
Some of the figures I was reading on, like how much each of these neighborhood parks cost. I got one site, the Parks and Recreation Management Department at Northern Arizona University, put like estimates on building a neighborhood park in their neck of the woods at $900,000. Just like a couple block thing that they were getting ready to make it grassy, have people jogging around.
I would say that's going to be a stretch, 900,000, because
well, this is upkeep throughout the entire year.
There's a lot of like
bureaucracy
going to that too. Like,
oh, dude, yeah. I was reading a thing earlier where they were trying to create, once again in New York, they were trying to create a sponge. It was called like sponge parks. Basically, what they do is they take rainwater and they clean it naturally, like running it through the grass and the dirt and whatnot, and then they would, collect it and then throw it back into the river when it's not so dirty. So
it's like an ecological service.
Yeah. And they had to go through to create this park really close to this really polluted area or whatever, because all these factories just polluted the water so much. They had to go through like 14 levels of like government officials and stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a really cool map I found that has like it has like a little arrow towards like everything they did in the park and like how many steps they had to go, how many government officials they had to talk to for each thing, and
yeah,
it's really crazy.
Yeah. What do you think, Cody? You want to talk about like national parks?
Yeah.
I feel like you brought a lot of information to the table on that.
Yeah, that's basically what I researched the most. All right, so just some stuff on the U.S. The U.S. has 59 national parks.
That's it?
Yeah.
National parks.
National parks. So it's like
Okay, because I'm thinking like state park and stuff.
no, the first national park was Yellowstone. California has the most national parks with 9. Alaska 8. Utah 5. Colorado 4. The largest national park is Wrangell St. Ellis in Alaska, and it's 8 million acres.
Which is
Jesus
so
Christ.
huge.
It's
That is a humongous park.
yeah, it's larger than our smallest 9 states, not combined but separate. And then the total area protected by national parks is approximately 210,000 kilometers squared, or 51.9 million acres, or 2.1% of all of the U.S.
Yeah.
So not a lot.
2.1%. But still, 2% it seems high. But wasn't another thing
Yeah.
the total protected area was...
Yeah, the total protected area, which counts all state parks, local parks, national parks, is 14%.
That's huge. I feel like that's a good...
You think it's huge until you compare it to other countries, I feel
Yeah.
like. So, like, just some other countries I'll rattle off. I'll just rattle off total protected area. So China's at 17%. Russia's kind of behind everybody. They're only at 11.4%. You would think they would
They
have
should
more.
just make all of Siberia a national park.
like
and
all
just
that
catch
frozen
up.
shit. Yeah. So, like, Greenland, 41.2%. I think that's the highest one I saw.
Well, that's because no one fucking lives there.
All right, so Germany, 37.4%.
But how many people live in Germany?
A lot
It
of
doesn't matter.
people.
The area of their country, 37% of the area of their country is protected in some way.
That's
And
a lot.
for us, it's only 14. So, like, Spain's 28%, UK's 28%, Brazil's
I
28%.
feel like that's just gonna be really based off like your population.
And here's something that
They
I
got
saw
big
that
cities.
was kind of concerning, because a lot of these countries, like from 1990 on, like their percentage grew drastically. But for us,
It's
from
gone down.
at 1990 we were at 13.7%, and now we're at 14%.
Oh,
So
it has gone
we've barely gone up. We have not, like, other countries are way more.
up. Yeah. Well,
progressive
corporate
about
interests
it.
are so strong here that that'd be just taking money out of their pockets, basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I mean,
Okay. What do you guys think are the main features of parks?
Are
Like-
like national parks? Let's just do both.
Yeah, let's do
So-
both.
Let's
with
start with national parks.
yeah, with national parks, it's mostly like
I'd say like,
like-
overall landscape of
yeah,
like, what
like-
it's gonna be.
what's a significant landscape. So, like, some of the, like, mountains, like the Great Smoky Mountains, or like the Grand Canyon. Those are things that we want to
Yellowstone.
preserve.
You go to Yellowstone, you want to like
Yeah,
see
like
all that.
the
kind of stuff.
geysers,
Yeah.
like all these unique landscapes that we want to keep intact, are mostly national parks.
Okay.
And I feel like in city parks or whatever, state or local parks in general, people look for like adequate seating.
Parking.
I think state parks are kind of like the mix in between, like, for recreation for people and for animals. Like, it's like, this is like kind of like a
Mhm.
preserve for animals. But then when you get to the local levels, it's all people mostly.
Thinking of like big cities in particular. Jay mentioned parking, but like if you're in a big city and
Isn't that kind of weird though? How like parks and parking are very similar words, but they're so different. They're like opposites.
see,
Yeah.
well, like
Exact opposite.
so like the first time I went to San Francisco, we took a car, or not took a car, but we rented a car, and we had to park, I would say, probably like a mile away from the park that we wanted to go to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even worth it. We could have just walked there because San Francisco's not even that big.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
you
a
gotta-
balance.
you
But
gotta-
we learned our lessons by
you gotta
what we
deal with
learned
that.
our lesson the bad way of walking San Francisco. It's terrible.
I'm fine with that. I
My
was super
calves
hungover.
hurt more that next day than anything in my life.
I think we walked like 7 miles.
Way more than that, dude. We walked literally the whole
No,
day.
we took a bus or we took a Uber.
No,
back.
because then we went out that night too. We walked
Oh,
around.
yeah.
Dude, it was terrible.
Yeah,
The worst
we did
day.
a ton of
I
walking.
mean, God. The next day, then we had to ride in a car for 20 hours.
Yeah.
My calves hated me. They were. I was miserable in the leg department.
Here, let me throw some features of parks out there. I go with like concerts, archery.
So archery.
Some parks have archery. Like you can shoot at targets and stuff.
Yeah.
It's there's one over by my girlfriend's house. They're just like they just put boards up and you just shoot at them with arrows or
Huh.
a straw. You were shooting a straw.
Never heard of that. In a
Yeah.
park, it sounds very dangerous.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of a nature thing. You go out and you just shoot arrows at shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. All right. I also put pools. A lot of these things have pools or like swimming holes.
Yeah.
Like Fox Island. Which
Right,
here,
yeah, Fox
you know-
Island's a really good example.
That's a terrible example of a park here because it's right next to a landfill,
Yeah. But
and
like-
they just had to like go in there and test the waters because some kid lost an eye or something, had like an eye infection.
Really.
Gee.
Yes.
See, well, like that
Nice.
reminds me of like in New York because there's so many people and there's so much trash and stuff. Most of their landfills are built underneath parks, and then they have because gas or not gas, but trash and whatnot produces like methane gas or something. Is it methane?
Methane.
And they have like holders in the parks, like in the ground that you won't even know. And it has a little funnel, and they come and collect it.
Really?
What?
Yeah, because they're running out of all the space.
So
Like,
underneath you is this methane bomb that
Pretty
somebody could
much.
just ignite if they wanted to.
Nah, they could be ignited. But
Terrorists are listening to this. Oh God, they just
Right.
found out their secret weapon
Blow up our parks.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
with our trash bombs.
Well, like another thing cool too is Central Park was actually like when it was like being created and whatnot. Like most people just think, oh, like they just fenced off this area inside this big city, and they said, oh yeah, we're gonna build this park here. But it's totally not that at all. Like underneath Central Park is like all these like tunnels and all this like life, pretty much. Like most of the water in Central Park can be drained and then refilled.
Really?
Like all their
It's
ponds
almost
they
the
create.
illusion of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like. So yeah, it
And
really
there was
does
like
seem
really,
like, yeah,
and that
it-
was the first time they ever did that anywhere. Like, so they used Central Park as like an experiment for all these other parks around the world, around the states. So like that was an experiment. A lot of the bridges, like a lot of the famous bridges in Central Park, were all like, we're gonna try it out here and see if it works.
Huh.
Because based off like all the traffic it's gonna get, because so many people live there. They based it off of like, okay, like if we put it here and it works here, then it can work anywhere.
Yeah.
If we mess up here,
So,
we
like,
mess
they
up
made,
8
like,
million
this-
people's lives.
They made this giant. Well, when they created it, there wasn't 8 million people there, but like they created this cast iron bridge, and it was the first cast iron bridge that was like ever made, and like, they did a lot of experiments there, which I thought was like really interesting. And originally, it was meant to be an area where rich and poor people could mingle, to where there was no level of class or race or anything. It was like, I guess maybe when it was first made, the race thing was still there. But just in general,
The race
though,
thing's always been there.
it was built for the people of the city to break away from their lifestyle of crunching numbers and whatever, to break away from all that and just be able to go to a park and mingle and mix.
That reminds me of something that I'd like to bring up. Might want to consider implementing into parks, especially like local parks and maybe state parks or whatever. Roman bathhouse style things. So
No.
in Roman times,
Why'd you have
similar-
a smirk on your face when you said that?
So in Roman times, it'd be like you go there and everybody's the same in these bathhouses. You just go there naked, get a soak in.
No.
Just make everybody equal.
That will not happen.
If you want everybody to feel the same, then you've got to just strip them down.
Get naked?
If you want to, I don't know. You don't have to.
I feel like it's a
There's
public.
no forced nudity.
It's
anywhere in the
public
world.
though. It's like a public place.
Yeah.
That's a very weird.
It'd have
Like,
to be an enclosed.
That's a weird
area.
thing to want.
It'd be an. It'd have to be
I
an-
want naked bathhouses.
It'd be an.
That's
I don't
such a
see
weird
what's
thing.
wrong with it. I honestly don't.
Open one up and see how much business you get.
Will our current views on nudity, I don't think it would be very successful.
Free the nipple.
You're gonna have a
Yeah.
bunch of old dudes in there.
Yeah, pretty much, or just homeless people in general.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there'd have to be some safeguards from keeping.
Right.
You gotta keep the water nice.
Yeah, you gotta keep the water nice.
Jesus.
I guess I would just kind of throw a couple more like stats out there. Is the Central Park Zoo was actually made and built during the Great Depression. So the Great Depression happened. All these people in New York have no jobs, no nothing, and the city of New York City said, "Okay, cool. We're gonna grow our park. We're gonna produce more for the people." And they put all these people to work. They actually built the Central Park Zoo in 7 months.
Makes me think they might have cut some corners.
I think they were more or less like, we have all these exotic animals. We need to lock them up.
Definitely not, because they
Oh, you
didn't
think
have
just
any.
zebras were walking around?
They
New
didn't
York
have
at
any
the time?
exotic animals at that particular time.
Don't get Cody started on zoos.
Yeah.
But
Fucking hate them.
but then like I feel like parks were like really really important to cities and people and everything. Like in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, like people were like really into parks, and then all of a sudden it all stopped. Like all.
Here's when it happened. When everything went to the suburbs.
Yeah.
I think that's when it stopped.
Parks like themselves were forgotten by the cities, forgotten by the people, and a lot of the parks were just polluted, and they were like, you know, ran over by homeless people and just all torn down and depleted. Like an example would be like Central Park again, the sheep meadow, which is like this giant area of flat grass, and people were using it to like burn stuff and like play football on, and they were tearing up the grass, and they couldn't keep up with it or whatever. So in the 1970s, they just all parks everywhere just kind of tore apart, and then this chick named Elizabeth Barlow created the Central Park Conservancy, and that pretty much is a non-for-profit that worked with the city to basically rebuild Central Park, rebuild parks all around New York and whatnot, and other states seen them do that and were like, holy crap, like that can revive your city, park can revive your city.
Yeah.
So they started working with, you know, like in Atlanta, like all these parks were torn down, and they started investing money into them, and all these other big cities that had all these people but nowhere for them to all conjugate together. They started getting in all these conservancies. So like any park you go to now is ran by a conservancy, a non-for-profit.
Yeah. So basically, they started seeing value in the parks.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think it's funny. Like, urban sprawl probably made it so people didn't really give a fuck about parks.
Yeah.
'Cause we
Like
sprawled
I can
out.
just drive 10 minutes outside of the city entirely now.
Yeah.
And just go look at the stars.
Yeah.
But no, in earlier when I was saying how they tore the sheet metal up, or
Cody
whatever.
just looks completely lost
Yeah,
in
it's
space
all good.
right now. Get it together, Cody.
I'm pissed. I had
Well, that's
to-
all right.
Smack
But
ya?
you can just think about it. I'm gonna talk a little more. So like the sheep meadow. The sheep meadow part, what I was saying was like all tore apart, and all these people just tearing it all up. Now it's like it's just made for relaxing. So it's this giant piece of flat grass that you can only just hang out on. You can't like toss the pigskin around. You can't do none of that. You just relax on it. And basically what it is it's a backyard for people who don't have backyards.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
Set up a hammock, maybe.
Yeah, set up a hammock. There's not really a lot
You
of
bring a
trees in the
cooler, get a
middle.
little drinking going on.
I'm not sure if you are allowed to drink alcohol in public.
That's a big thing with public parks. Is like, yeah, you get
Like when
those
you're in
rules
Venice-
against alcohol.
Like when we were in Venice Beach.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
That's a problem with America.
Yeah, I can't get drunk wherever I want.
In like Europe, you're allowed to be in a car and have a beer, as long as you're not the driver.
Really?
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
And there's no open container
Yeah,
laws.
no open container. Doesn't matter.
Here's the thing I was just thinking about. So you remember in high school, this might have just been an urban legend that I was always too willing to believe. So when you got foam in your beer and you do the trick where you either lick your finger or like get some sweat off your forehead
Yeah.
Grease.
to get it to
It's
go,
grease.
is that a real thing? Is
It works.
science proving it?
I don't know if science has proven it, but I've seen many people
It
do
just
it.
makes the waiting. It just makes the waiting.
Well, do
feel
it
like you're
without
more
doing
involved.
that. Does it make it go away faster? I don't know.
Yeah, see, nobody's proven it to me yet.
we should test it.
I think we should test it, but
I'm not going to be the person who does the
it's
oil
like you
thing,
got to do
'cause
somebody.
that's disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross, but
It's
we were always
nasty.
doing it. I don't get.
I
Actually,
literally just did that when we started this
It's
podcast.
disgusting.
Because we are drinking out of a Heineken keg right now.
Yeah.
It's
Heineken.
nasty.
Heineken sponsored us for this episode. Just kidding.
No, they
I
did
wish.
not. But yeah, so I don't know. I was just thinking about whether that was real or not, because it was one of those things from my past that I never debunked.
Well, you know what, Jay? That has nothing to do with parks.
Yeah. But we were talking about drinking in parks, so it is something to do with parks.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just
man.
imagine sometime you've got a foamy beer in a park, you might want to defoam it. Park related.
Okay.
So what
the
would
park related thing is we should be able to drink beer in parks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what would you think is the biggest local park around us? Like a park that we can go to that's like
Headwaters Park.
Okay, so
you're talking
Headwaters.
Fort Wayne. I'm talking.
Headwaters is like a.
I wasn't even saying Fort Wayne. I'm talking about like big cities.
In the region. Well, then you got to say Chicago's Millennium Park.
I have the
You
top.
have to.
I actually have a list of the top 5 Indiana parks.
Let's hear him, Cody.
All right, number 5, Moreau Lake, and this is based on
Size?
annual attendance.
Oh, okay.
So Moreau Lake, 930,000 people annually.
Wow. Where's that at? Does it say where it's at?
No,
Is
I
that
don't
a
know.
lake?
Moreau. Raccoon Lake, over 1 million. Indiana Dunes,
Oh yeah.
I've been
1
there. That's a good one.
1.16 million.
Ooh.
What number is that one? 7.
That's 3.
You're just doing top 5.
Yeah, top 5.
okay.
So, number 2 is Brookville Lake, 1.3 million people annually, and then Brown County State Park, 1.36.
That's a concert thing, isn't it? Brown County.
From the
sounds
pictures I
familiar.
saw, it looked like a
And
nature park.
In most huge local parks, like you were just talking about, Chicago's Millennium Park, they actually have like a performance center there, where they
Yeah,
have
There's like
concerts
a-
and whatnot.
a hall.
And that's where like if people are like, oh, what park are they talking about? It's where the Bean is.
Yeah.
So if you go to Chicago and you go to
If you've seen some basic chick's Facebook profile picture
next
of
to the
her
Bean
with the reflection and the bean,
Everyone has a
that's
picture.
where that's at.
Everyone.
And
Everybody does.
And that's a really good park.
Hopefully I'm not offending anybody. I was just joking.
Yeah.
But you're
But-
being a little
I'm a
trite.
basic bitch. So that-
But no, like that's a prime example of someone like realizing the potential of their city. So Chicago, before Millennium Park was there, was just like a giant parking lot, and it wasn't being put to use for like that particular space. And they said, screw it. They invested $500 million, which sounds ridiculous to me. They revised that park, revised Chicago downtown, revised that city just from that one particular investment in a park.
Ooh, I just had a great question.
Yeah.
Would you guys take a park like Millennium Park in Chicago or like a big stadium here in Fort Wayne?
I would take a park.
If it's like Millennium, then definitely I'd take the park.
What, like War Memorial
So
Stadium?
we get
or-
like a team, say an
No.
NFL team comes here to Fort Wayne or
No.
an NBA team or whatever.
Take a park.
You'll take a park?
Yeah, take a park.
Really? So that seems like a lot of cities face this and they normally go stadium, please. They want to go with the...
Because it
That's the
actually
sexy answer.
it generates revenue. all
Parks
about
generate
money.
revenue too, though.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, it might. People aren't going to Chicago just for Millennium Park.
If you go to Chicago, you
But there's
go
not.
to Millennium
There's
Park.
not actual revenue coming from the park. Like there's no entry to get into Millennium Park.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if you're a traveler, like I'm paying for the hotel room, I'm whatever, and then we
Yeah, it's
make a
definitely an
stop there.
attraction.
It's an attraction.
Yeah.
which-
If we had like something like Millennium Park in Fort Wayne, it would definitely be a huge attraction.
Uh-huh. Definitely. Well, I don't know. With
Which,
us
like, I
being
was-
smaller.
but I was
But
hoping.
if you thought if we had the Bean, if we had like the cool music hall and
Yeah.
all that stuff that Millennium Park has,
I was reading some really cool
giant
things
fountain.
about Central Park where like they would have these huge concerts on like because there's some areas that are just ginormous, and they said like right now legally now there's some of these areas where you can only have like 50,000 people like legally, but like a long time ago, like back in '81 in Central Park, there was an Elton John concert that had like 800,000 people attend.
Holy shit!
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
How
It's
many
like-
people do you think were at that Warriors convention where he was like, "Can you dig?"
Can
That
you
seemed like a
dig
lot of
it?
people. He might have had too many people there. Cyrus. I don't think he had the proper.
I don't think that was
zoning
sanctioned.
rules.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a sanctioned meeting.
No, I think
You
you really
know.
messed that one.
Can you dig it,
Sucker?
Yeah, that might not have been legal. I don't think that meeting was. That whole movie might not have been logical.
They didn't get the right
Now
paperwork.
that I think about it, yeah, like he couldn't have had that meeting. They would not have allowed that.
No, definitely not.
I don't think that movie actually
Wow,
was.
it's all came to fruition right now. The Warriors movie isn't real.
That's what the whole topic was actually about.
Did you guys know that movie is actually based on a book?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That movie is amazing, though.
Yeah, but the book's nothing like the.
I
I
heard
mean, it's kind of about street gangs, but it's not like the movie.
I don't know. This just popped into my head. I might just be thinking something weird. I think I heard that they're gonna redo that movie though.
God,
The
they're
Warriors?
redoing every movie.
Fucking
I'm
hope
sick
they
of it.
don't.
I'm
Yeah.
sick
That
of
is
it.
one of the best.
Come
movies
up with
ever.
your own ideas. This is bullshit, fucking Hollywood.
You can't remake a movie that good.
They do it all the time. Think about what they just did to Ghostbusters.
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Ruined it.
Oh no,
Ah.
Chase likes Ninja Turtles.
The newest one
What?
was cool, man.
The old ones are
The
classic.
old ones are way better, but the new one wasn't the worst.
And this
one
dude
ever.
hates CGI,
And they did cool with CGI. I was impressed. I was
I
impressed.
hate it. I hate it.
CGI,
One particular scene where he's like stepping in water, and I was like, dude, that is a real foot in water right now, not a CGI foot.
Okay, well, I had a few questions.
Okay.
What do you think parks should be? Or more or less, because I mostly did like national parks things. Do you think there should be more land conserved?
Yes, and I think it goes back to just that stat you were talking about. It's preserving something. We're preserving something, either animals or just a landscape or just an ecosystem.
Yeah.
That's important.
Well, it's kind of concerning when, like, okay, so we do have 14% of our area protected, but I'm going to guess a lot of it is Alaska. Like, one park
If
is
8 million
8
acres.
million acres is in Alaska. So, like, we're a big country. We can protect way more than that. We don't really have a large population.
Yeah. I can tell you driving through Montana and, like, Colorado and a lot of these middle states, there are potentially large tracts of lands that could be protected.
Yeah.
That are just not being used for anything.
So here's one way to put it into perspective is America has what, like 330 million people?
Yeah.
We're bigger than China is. We protect 14% while China protects 17% and they have triple the people we have.
Yeah.
So that's kind of we should be doing way more than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, I can see why
They're not
it's-
100% developed, though, are they? Like every single city in China.
They're industrializing.
Yeah, they're industrialized.
But I think that the problem would be is just nobody's thinking about it anymore. Teddy Roosevelt did so much, and I'd love to just. I brought in a pretty decent amount of Teddy Roosevelt information to this because he kickstarted all of this.
Yeah.
He started it so that he created five of the national parks during his presidency, and he also passed a law where presidents can claim or make something a historic landmark.
Yeah.
Which is a huge part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like he just interpreted it so broadly that you could turn anything you wanted into a historic landmark. If just like Abraham Lincoln was rumored to be on this land, historic landmark.
Yeah.
And he did a lot for that.
Kind of like the Johnny Appleseed thing here.
Yeah. Then there hasn't been a champion of these environmental protection issues since like progressive area.
I feel like there's like a war on it nowadays. It's like we need this land because it might have this resource that we need. Like I know Obama was pushing real hard for another national park in Alaska, but then on the flip side they're like, well, we want to drill there for oil.
Yeah.
So we're not going to allow that. So it never passed.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, you're looking at like issues with it's
like we're not seeing any new national parks in the last 20 years.
Yeah, well, there's no push for it. There's no ethos or zeitgeist here in the country to even think about it.
Yeah.
We take these things for granted.
Well, that's what I was going to say earlier. On the 1970s issue, like, we kind of became conscious of what, like, nature could have for us and, like, the value it has. The ecological services provide all these things for us that there's, like, billions and billions of dollars that we would have to pay if, like, the ecological service didn't do it for us, like filter our water or whatever. And before then, people, like, I know, like, my dad has told me that people would, like, with littering, they would just throw their trash out the window, not even think about it. Like,
I get so mad
bit.
now when I see that that I want to just go throw shit at those
Apparently
people.
it was just the norm. That's just what you did.
Right.
And it's like we've grown leaps and bounds into being, like, conscious about the environment. And, like...
Talking about, like, littering or, like, recycling in general, there's actually a park in Brooklyn Heights. Pretty much it's like all along like the river.
Jeez, Chase moved to New York already.
Yeah. Ooh, that's like where all the information is when it comes to like fucking badass parks. But so it's the Brooklyn Bridge Park, and it's 100% recycled. So like all of the landmarks in the all the landscape, like the hills and whatnot, are all created from tunnel digging. Like they brought the dirt from there and put it here. All the water from that. So if it rains on that area or like anything, there's a couple like fountains and whatnot. All the water is harvested in like these reservoirs, and then that's used as the irrigation water. So they're not even using water from the actual city. It's all recycled water.
Yeah, that's one of the ecological services that I was talking about. Like downriver, it'll just filter itself where they barely have to filter it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to like throw out wrong stats, but I know with New York, it's literally like billions of dollars if they tried to filter their water themselves without the environment doing it for us. It would cost them so much more.
Trees do it, yeah. Like that's what trees just naturally do.
Yeah.
They just filter water.
And like all the benches and the chairs and everything are all formed from like old metal and like old things like that were in that area before they tore them all down and created this park.
Yeah.
Which I think is fascinating is the fact is they're taking an area that's old, ran down, no one's using it, and they're saying like, okay, let's put some money into it. Let's make it into this landscape that's going to draw people to this particular area.
So do you think that is an idea that could maybe help a city that's like is mostly abandoned, like Detroit, where we just like it's abandoned at this point?
See, well, like I feel like
if you started with the parks, I think that'd be a mistake. You're not gonna save Detroit by building a big ass park. I don't think.
Yeah.
You're not gonna.
I get that, but their population is like.
But I think
a third of what it used to be.
Yeah, so they didn't put anything into that. Like they didn't have any.
There's no fail safe.
Yeah, they didn't. They just banked on the automotive industry, and if that's your one trick pony, Detroit, you weren't thinking. Then what's your trick when these things fall apart?
Yeah.
So I mean, they could diversify and.
But when I think about Detroit, I don't really think of tourist attractions.
No.
Not really. So I mean, if they could build something that could be a tourist attraction, then maybe they'd start to revitalize the city and change the outlook of the city.
I would say that there's definitely areas or like there's definitely times where the city's built parks and it's revitalized in general, but I don't know if this park there would.
I think it's worth a try. Honestly,
fuck. Yeah. I mean, at this point, you're running out of options.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just your
put a casino in there.
They've got casinos downtown Detroit.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been downtown.
They've got NFL teams.
It's scary. It's honestly scary as shit downtown.
There's
There's like a casino and a block away. It's like the projects, and you're like, what the fuck? This is weird and it's scary.
Right. Well, that's unfortunate.
I think that these parks do help to build like an appreciation for preservation.
Yeah.
And like that, I think that's where we start at is with these parks and neighborhoods and cities that get the ball rolling, get people thinking about like I need to see some trees every once in a while, please. Like you just can't live without just being separated from nature.
Yeah. We're part of nature. Reconnecting with nature, like literally, like releases like dopamine.
Yeah.
It's like good for you.
Seeing like birds are kind of lame. I don't get super excited about birds, but you still when you hear that chirping, it's just reminds you of springtime and
probably
just
like
happiness.
Ingrained in us.
Yeah,
from,
it probably is.
Ancestral.
Birds don't chirp in times of danger, so you just immediately feel soothed.
Yeah.
Maybe they do.
I don't know.
Maybe bird chirping is also a danger sign.
No, I don't know. They're mostly trying to have sex when they're chirping.
So maybe bird chirping is also wired into our brains as like, oh, you're safe right now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something I've never thought
That's
of
good.
before.
I like that.
Yeah, but earlier when you're talking about how Detroit's kind of like deteriorated and whatnot, there's actually an area in Madrid where they have like there's a river that goes straight through Madrid, all the way through it, and they have all these highways and stuff along the river. But all the people in the city were like, we want, like we don't want to look out our window and look at a fucking highway.
Yeah.
So basically, the city of Madrid said, okay, well, we're going to put all these parks up. So they did this thing called the Rio Project, where basically what they did is they sunk the highway into the ground. So they moved the highway down and they built a park over the top of the highway.
That's awesome.
And it's dude, if you look at pictures of this, it's like, so now this particular part of Madrid is like the most sought after place to live.
So
when before it was like this, like fuck this, we don't want to live here type of area. Now it's like everybody was going for this spot.
With that same thing of like a land bridge over a highway, they've actually done it to where it's just like a grass bridge over a highway, and all the deer will go to that bridge to cross, and it greatly reduces the amount of deer hit by
Oh yeah,
cars.
that's a huge problem we have with animals ruining their migration patterns because a highway blocks their path.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what's
it's not
the,
only
what's
that,
the
it's
big cat and
deaths by like hitting a deer or swerving because you're about to hit a deer.
yeah.
If you just build this land bridge where they can cross safely, they'll go to it and cross safely.
What's the big cat in Florida? Is it No, it's not a jaguar. Is it a panther? No, not a panther.
In Florida?
Not a panther. But there's
like a bobcat or what?
Is it a bobcat? It's something big.
I don't
I
know.
don't think it's bobcats.
I can't think
I don't
of a
know,
big
but
cat
I
in
watched this
Florida.
documentary where they were trying to figure out why their population was decreasing so much, and it ended up being like their migration patterns where they go to have sex and hunt and stuff were cut off by this highway going straight through their habitat.
Yeah.
So now they're building tunnels underneath the highway. They're building like sensors that put stoplights up in the way to help these animals get across, or they'll just tag them or tranquilize them and carry them over there themselves.
Yeah. See, I like that. I think humans should be more in sync with nature and like know that we're not the only people. We're not the only organism here on Earth, and it's not all about us.
And
We have to coexist with all these other animals.
Have you ever thought about like what they do with all the land from like all the Olympic parks and stuff they're building?
yeah, it goes to shit is what happens.
Yeah, usually.
Unless you're London.
London is a
London
different
did it
story.
amazingly. They built it like right in the middle of the town, right in the middle of the city, and then once the Olympics were gone, they said, "Cool, we're gonna turn this into a giant fucking park."
Yeah.
So now, if you go to London, the Olympic Park is this huge general. It's like Queen Elizabeth Park or something now.
Most of the facilities are just too big for them to sustain.
But they're not like the actual like the giant arenas. I don't think they're being really used for anything. But overall, like the accommodations of everything else was like all this greenery and all this crap. They kept all that alive, and now it's a giant park.
Yeah. They did the same in Atlanta.
They need to start. Yeah, they need to start when they get announced for the Olympics. They need to be prepared for after the Olympics.
Yeah, I know, right? That seems like such a no-brainer, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I feel like there's so much pressure on them to put
I think it'd be
on
cool.
such a good Olympics.
I think it'd be cool if the Olympics was started to look at like it's like a world fair, like how the Eiffel Tower was built because of the World Fair, or like the Ferris wheel was built in Chicago. That didn't last long, but like if it was like a world event where it's like afterwards we're gonna have like this landmark or this like great thing here because the Olympics were here.
Well, those weren't built around athletics. That was built around like advances in science.
Yeah.
Which we've gotten away from. Now we just worship.
But I mean,
athletics.
we could turn the Olympics into that because I mean, you gotta say there are like great architectural things happening when the Olympics come to a town.
Like, that was like one of the coolest arenas I've ever even seen.
Yeah, Bird's Nest.
They definitely go all out. So why not make it? I know.
You think we could like
that.
also do maybe there is something like that happening where it's also in conjunction with showing off the newest invention. Well, everybody's kind of probably safeguarding their best inventions now.
Yeah.
Because it's technology and it's.
But it would be cool if we could.
See,
turn
like for
it
the
into
states
that
though,
sort
it's
of event.
easier. Like every time we've had an Olympics here, like it's easier for us to transition into whatever because we have so many sports teams. So like it happened in Atlanta, so they're like, "Cool, we'll let the Braves play here. We'll let the Falcons play
They
here."
let Georgia Tech swim in the swimming area.
Yeah, so like
I heard we're up for In 2024, it might be in Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not going back to Los Angeles.
I don't know where they would put it or why they would go to Los Angeles.
It's been in Los Angeles before.
Yeah.
One of the games.
LA games.
Summer games, yeah.
Yeah. Was that 80?
I have no
I
idea.
don't know,
It was
yeah.
in the 80s.
I don't
It was
know.
in the
I
80s.
only remember
I know
Utah.
I think next time it's in Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo.
Summer Olympics are.
That ought to be
That's
badass.
2020.
Okay.
I remember Utah for a winter, and I remember
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
American can pretty host
yeah, we
either
can
because we
it's,
have
it's not a huge transition for us. I think in Rio, I don't think they have huge sports unless it's soccer.
Yeah.
Soccer, they'll probably keep that no matter what.
But Brazil's doing surprisingly well in a lot of events, though.
Yeah, I think there's probably some
There's some
collusion going on here with the referees and the.
Well, like I was watching the one-man rowing earlier. Have you ever seen that?
No, I've
It's
not.
amazing. They stand on their knee, like they're like on their knees, like if you're doing like a TiVo.
Yeah.
You know, that's how they row their canoe. And it's like one arm.
Like a paddleboard.
Yeah, dude, it is.
It's like a paddleboard then.
Dude, it's like a stand-up paddleboard, but one knee's down, and they go like 40 miles an hour. It's
Holy
nuts.
shit.
Damn.
Then the Brazilian dude, his name's like Dos Santos something, is jacked, shredded, like
Yeah.
just this giant human being, and he's like destroyed all
What
these.
sport in the Olympics do you think you would be best at?
Like,
Oh.
I have no idea.
The one that I thought that I seen
Strength
is,
based, most likely. Like
It was
probably
like-
some sort of.
it's like lacrosse, but there's like a 3-point line and you jump across it to throw the ball at the net.
Handball.
Handball?
Is it handball?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'd be so good at that.
Yeah.
I'd be unstoppable at handball. I need to get on the Olympic. We need to put together a handball team.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably one I would pick too.
It looks
like
like
one where it's like a team activity and
It
you
looks
can.
like so much fun.
I would probably be good at like some sort of like
Dude, you'd be our defender in the middle. Nobody would be able to get in
track or
there.
field something or strength.
No,
based
you'd be
weight
our
training.
defender in the middle, man. So in a lot of these ones, you need an enforcer.
Not particularly
You
interested in handball.
But this is a sport
Well,
where you
fuck
can be an enforcer. You want to be on our team.
Yeah, fuck
You
yeah.
know, be on your team, but I'm not saying that.
We are three very different, like weight and size individuals.
Yeah. So I'm probably, or if it's like body types, never mind. This is probably bad. We're all different body types. It's just bizarre how like, don't you normally see like groups of friends and go, oh, those guys all look the same.
Straight up.
But
Yeah.
our group of friends are very distinct.
Yeah, we are.
We look like a TV show where it's like you need like a different person from each like shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Dane Cook joke where he's always talking about how the guy who works at the office
He's
and
just shapes.
he's just shapes.
He's not even fat. He's just shapes.
He's just shapes. All right, well I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Hopefully that you guys like this new concept of doing the top 5 first and then just covering one topic. We'd love to hear some feedback via either the Facebook page or SoundCloud comments or whatnot.
Or you can send mail with like pieces of your hair to PO Box 317 on Illinois Road. That will tell us you like it.
What?
Whoever owns P.O. Box 317.
Dude, no.
Pissed.
Totally avoid that. But anyway, like us on Facebook at Regular Man's Manifesto. Subscribe to us on SoundCloud and iTunes. We look forward to the next one. Thank you, guys.
We love you.
I didn't think it was that weird to say the pieces of hair thing.